Hello everyone, welcome back. How are you all doing today? So one thing that a lot of people are really interested in is of course exactly what J.J. Abrams is going to do with the Jedi and Sith lore in Star Wars Episode 9 that will bring a final conclusion to the Skywalker saga. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing I will say that I am really looking forward to seeing in this movie is exactly how the Jedi and Sith lore is going to move some of the characters like Rey and Kylo Ren forward in this story by JJ. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with Rey, the Lost City, and her Sith secret and discovery in Episode 9. Specifically, a description of Rey inside of the Lost City, opening a large stone structure in the shape of a box. It's said to contain the first Kyber crystal that belonged to the first Sith Lord in front of the first Sith Lord statue. It's said to not be cracked or have any imperfections to it. Now, the next goes over Rey picking up the Kyber crystal, where it's described that she begins to feel a dark presence and begins to gain knowledge of the Sith by touching the crystal. It's described that Rey begins to hear voices reaching out to her, another of which goes over a period of time jumping ahead in time in which she is on the Millennium Falcon with Finn and Poe, wearing a necklace that has the Kyber crystal attached to it. It's said that it's guiding her to a spot of importance on a desert world. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this and as to why I'm getting very excited about this movie when it comes to Jedi and Sith lore in Episode 9. So first things first, I want to go over the Lost City, specifically in the Sith location. Now, we've heard about the first Sith continuously, right? We've been hearing more and more about him, the stone structure in the Lost City. Now, this stone structure in the shape of a box holds the first Kyber crystal that has actually belonged to the first Sith. So it's very likely that this Sith Lord made it bleed and turned it red. So if you look at everything with Episode 9, we do know that J.J. Abrams wants to really kind of attach this film to the comics, to the books, the novels, the EU and Legends material, and a whole lot more in order for this film to really gravitate towards a majority of the Star Wars fans on all different mediums of the franchise. So the next thing that I do want to go over is how this Kyber crystal is said to not be cracked or have any imperfections to it, like Luke Skywalker's red crystal on Ahch-To, which was cracked and had a lot of imperfections. So basically, Luke Skywalker's red Kyber crystal on Ahch-To was just a fragment. It wasn't a whole Kyber crystal, it was just a fragment. Where in this scenario, Rey discovers a real Kyber crystal that's red that once belonged to the first Sith Lord. Now, what's really intriguing to me is how when she touches it, she begins to feel a dark presence and voices reaching out to her. Now, you guys may remember in the Last Jedi visual dictionary, there was an idea that never made it to the final cut of the movie about a Sith ghost reaching out to Luke Skywalker inside of his hut, the same exact location of the red Kyber crystal necklace. So I think it's very likely that J.J. Abrams is drawing from that idea where a red Kyber crystal that once belonged to a Sith Lord could very well have something to do with Sith spirits of some kind in Episode 9. And I think that's what JJ wants to introduce in this movie, is that there's not just light side Force ghosts, but there's also ghosts on the Sith side of the spectrum. That to me I think is a very interesting aspect for sure. So when we're looking at everything here, she decides to bring it back on board of the Millennium Falcon with, of course, Finn and Poe Dameron, in which this Kyber crystal necklace is guiding her to a specific location on a desert world. Now, this location on whatever desert world this is, I believe is Jakku, and the location is probably going to be the Jakku Observatory. The Jakku Observatory is the location of many different Sith artifacts and relics that once belonged to Emperor Palpatine. So this Kyber crystal, whatever, the significance of it is in this movie, it's guiding Rey to that desert world, which honestly I believe is the planet Jakku, the other side of Jakku to be exact. Now, guys, I gotta say one thing here. I mean, it sounds amazing what J.J. Abrams is trying to do with the Jedi and Sith lore in this film in order to really accomplish something that's really going to resonate with fans around the world. So, like I say, when we look at Episode 9, when we look at episode 9, we do know that Rey wants to pretty much go on her own personal mission in the second act of the movie. That's a part of this film that we will actually witness ourselves as the audience. It's going to be somewhat similar to what Luke Skywalker did in the original trilogy, going on his own personal mission in The Empire Strikes Back and in Return of the Jedi. So I think I love those parallels of what he's trying to do, you know, with the character of Rey, and how there's some mirrors here and there for the character of Luke as well in the originals. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.